Good evening from Viña del Mar, Chile, and welcome to Crossing the Threshold. My name is Joseph Kenneth from the University of Metaphysics, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Light Body Traveler Society. Now, we're going to be covering a lot of material here in a relatively short amount of time, so if there's anything that's unfamiliar to you or not completely understood as I explain it, be sure to post any questions or comments in the comment section down below. Now, that being said, tonight we're going to examine just how to begin crossing the threshold from within a meditative state and into a safe out-of-body state. And we're going to do this in a way that everyone here, no matter how adept, new to, or even skeptical you may be to this subject, that you can begin to leave your body and experience firsthand the freedoms and bliss of out-of-body travel. Now, as you can see from the picture on your screen, there are quite a few life-altering advantages that come from achieving astral projection. First of all, understanding and experiencing the previously unconscious gaps in your existence due to having low or even no dream recall. Secondly, of course, you become more lucid in your dream states, obviously in your astral projections, and even back here within your daily life. And this is not to mention the heightened clairvoyance, increases in psychic abilities, the opening of your third eye, your kundalini activation. But possibly the most important thing that happens once you've consciously left your body is that you actually experience and know beyond the shadow of any doubt that you are immortal in your true nature. You proved yourself through your own experience that you exist beyond the third dimension and that you won't somehow be taken out of existence when you physically die. And this is big. Don't underestimate the power of this kind of knowledge, this level of knowledge. I myself have had 2 near-death experiences and remember feeling a deep rush of excitement both times. Right after the initial rush of fear, of course, but both times I knew that I would be free in a split second and be able to continue my journey beyond my body. Now, this may sound a bit strange to some of you, or even grim, and I'll give you that, but after spending vast amounts of time within the astral and spiritual realms, life here does become more of a stepping stone experience than your entire existence. Does that make sense? So let's look at some of the personal tools that we work with when beginning to or setting out to accomplish astral projection. As you can see, there are 3 basic facets of yourself that you need to work with and eventually master when seeking to achieve regular astral projections. First, you need to strengthen your will, because without this underlying drive, nothing is actually accomplished. Remember that most of the events in your life have been accomplished through the drive of your will. Secondly, you need to focus your desire, and this means that you must deeply desire the result of leaving your body. I always compare astral projection to learning a new instrument or a new language. To really go about developing any new skill like this, especially one that's still considered supernatural by the masses and even to the average rational mind, you need to have both your will and desire well in check so that they're working as tools in your favor and not against it. And of course, you need to develop your imagination, and we'll talk more about this in just a bit, as well as all 3 of these personality facets when we go into the energy work portion of this event. Okay, so let's begin with some of the most effective meditation methods for inducing astral projection. And I have to mention here that an astral projection meditation can be a bit different from the standard daily meditation. In a basic meditation, you're looking to clear your mind and shut down the exterior environment to enter into your internal reality and ultimately into a state of cosmic unity with Source. Now, in an astral projection session, you're actually looking to develop a series of memorized exercises that take you from a light meditative state and over the threshold into an out-of-body state. Are you guys with me? Now, as you can see, the main points to keep in mind here are proper positioning. An AP meditation does not require the standard lotus posture. You can rehearse your astral projection from Savasana, corpse pose, in a reclined chair at roughly 37-degree angle, or even sitting in a hardback chair to maintain a deeper awareness as you go through your exercises. And you also want to do mental exercises, I should say. And you also want to develop a strong mental and physical relaxation technique so that your physical body can enter a state of waking paralysis and your brainwaves can slow down to oscillate into a theta state of about 4 to 7 hertz. Also, holding your awareness within the breath, as with any meditation technique, is also key. And we'll talk about some really awesome ways to come into a deep, focused breath awareness state in just a bit. You also want to develop a strong and reliable method of energy work to pre-stimulate, your energetic body. And again, we'll look a bit closer at this aspect of your AP meditations in just a bit. You need to develop a working knowledge of your brainwave states and accurately bring yourself into a self-induced trance. And we'll look deeper into this as well. And ultimately, what separates an AP meditation from a basic meditation is that once you're in a place of complete and utter relaxation, deep within your trance, you need to have a focused ability to shift your perception throughout your immediate environment. Now, virtually every exit technique in astral projection revolves around altering your perception and then transferring your conscious awareness into that location without distraction. And we'll look at some awesome exit techniques later on as well. So, to exercise the imagination, one of the first methods that we train an initiate in the Light Body Travelers is to place 2 hardback chairs in the center of a room, and then go through a very specific relaxation exercise while sitting in the frontmost chair. Now, having entered this deep physical relaxation state, we then teach them to physically stand up and walk to sit in the second chair behind them. They're then told to manifest the precise image of themselves sitting in the frontmost chair and watch themselves perform the exact same relaxation series while sitting right behind themselves. Now, when they do this, they're also instructed to double the relaxation that was created while sitting in the frontmost chair. And this basic relaxation and imagination practice is just an awesome way when developing the initial AP meditation, because it almost immediately develops the imaginative faculty while getting the physical body into a deep relaxation state. Now, a few minutes ago, I mentioned an awesome breath awareness technique. And this is taken directly from the Ayurveda teachings from around 5,000 years ago. What they taught and understood is that the breath was the constant motion that connects all 5 layers of the self. And by placing your conscious awareness into this flow or hoop of the breath, the meditator could instantly unite these 5 aspects. So let's look at these layers here in the diagram. The outermost being the physical aspect, followed by the energetic aspect, followed by the emotional aspect, or the lower self, then the mental aspect, or the higher self, and finally at the center we see pure spirit, or source. So again, by simply placing our conscious awareness into the breath and watching it flow through all 5 of these aspects, as the diagram shows, you can almost instantaneously merge into a focused state of oneness. And it's pretty cool. I know a lot of you listening may use this technique and know what I'm talking about. I was actually shown this method in an Ayurveda workshop about 7-8 years ago, and to this day haven't found a quicker way to enter into a focused state of breath awareness. So if you're not familiar with it, definitely try this out. Now, to begin working your way from a relaxed state of breath awareness and into an actual astral projection meditation, you will need a solid energy work system. And most of you know energy work goes way back in history throughout many cultures in the form of acupuncture, qigong, tai chi, even yoga and reiki, and probably quite a few more that I'm not even mentioning here. So it's not uncommon to activate the energy body through a simple awareness exercise and begin to stimulate the energy field that encompasses the physical body. And what's key to remember in any energy work system is that where awareness goes, energy flows. So you can literally place awareness into any part of yourself and easily stimulate the energy field with a little practice. And I'm sure most of you listening are aware of this. Our Light Body Traveler's energy work system is actually based in the Kabbalistic philosophy of Rabbi Azrael ben Menachem and his writings on the ReWalk in the 13th century. Now, for those of you who maybe aren't as familiar here with Kabbalah, the ReWalk is the center section within the Tree of Life, and it contains the aspects of the middle self, which are your desire, your reason, your intellect, your will, your memory, and your imagination. And what we teach in the LBT is to create a spiraling vortex of energy within each 5 of the limbs, the 5th being the spinal column, or Sushumna Nadi. So looking here at the diagram, you can see how each of these self-aspects within the ReWalk can be turned into a manageable force to create a strong energetic sensation throughout your personal energy field. And there's a much deeper teaching to this technique that involves exploring your personal psyche to identify, confront, and eventually master all of these aspects of yourself. And we'll be doing some intense workshops with this energy work system in the middle of this year, so stay posted on that. Any of you who are interested in this authentic form of self-mastery and illumination through this Kabbalistic system. You can see here the red section identifying the ReWalk, or the center section of the tree. And remember that the ReWalk is actually defined as the machine created by the mind for exploring and experiencing the nature of the universe. So think for a moment about how your desires have actually been the underlying driving force in you ever since you were born. We actually are at our inner core, our desires. And then think about how your intellect or reasoning ability has rationalized concepts to make them a reality from a logical perspective. And look at how your will has been the vehicle that puts your underlying desires into action and actually molds your entire reality in this way. Also think about how your memory has allowed your life to unfold in a sequential order and give you a sense of self through recalling relationships and experiences. And look at how your imagination has literally invented your entire existence. Now, most people still hear the word imagination and associate it with daydreaming or fantasy. But what is not totally realized yet by the masses is that the imagination is the key player in making a reality manifest. And that you and me actually exist in the imagination of a collective being who's dreaming this entire reality. And this being is also a larger piece of me and you. Are you guys with me? And to go just a small step deeper into this, we see here that within the Tree of Life there exists 4 worlds, or really layers of the psyche. And we can think of this as the dreamer actually imagining and then manifesting a reality in a spiritual or energetic sequence right over the human body here. And this is really the coolest part about Kabbalistic philosophy, is that we see manifestation or creation unfold right over the human form. So think about this. Up here in Asiluth, we see the world of archetypes above all creation, still unmanifested. Moving down then to Briah, we have the world of creation. And it's no coincidence here, within this location over the brow, or the third eye, just in front of the pineal gland. And this is actually where manifestation occurs to make you and me real within a physical plane experience. And then we see Yetzirah, the world of formation, where elements and ideas begin to mold and take form. Right there within the ReWalk, of course, as you can see. And this is where our middle self forms our experience and explores the nature of our existence to mold a self-identity. And finally, Asaya, the world of action. And this is where the self can begin to play out the role of the character that it first created in the higher realms of the psyche. So getting back to our energy work, you can see how by understanding the ReWalk and its compositional makeup of yourself, it's possible to begin using each of these energetic currents to powerfully stimulate the energetic field. And ultimately, this begins to generate your astral body and get it ready for a clean separation in the following moments of your AP meditation. So the idea here is that once your energy body is stimulated, you want to begin raising your energy and placing some spiritual fuel into your astral body. And we find an awesome technique within the Taoist teachings. Now keep in mind here that Taoism was officially founded in the year 142 CE and is claimed to be a direct wisdom teaching from celestial masters. Now, what the Taoists do to charge the astral body just before takeoff is very, very cool. And I can tell you that this stuff really works when separation is a bit of a struggle sometimes. So let's break down the diagram we see here. First, we need to utilize Mula Bandha. This means that we ever so gently want to flex the pubococcygeus muscle, which is that part of the perineum just between the genitals and anus. Now, as a reference, this is the muscle flexed when holding back the flow of urine. It's also the muscle flexed at the moment of sexual orgasm. So by gently flexing this muscle, we're actually locking in the prana, or life force, and guiding it upward through our own microcosmic orbit as opposed to letting it leak out and be lost. Now, by inhaling deeply and guiding this life force up your spine, or Sushumna Nadi, then circling it around the crown of your head, then through the exhale, pushing this charged energy down the front of your face, down your chest, and place it to rest within your hara, or solar plexus, just below the sternum. Every time you place this prana energy here at the end of the breath cycle, see it as an expanding glow of energy that's charging your astral body. Now, I always repeat this, but whether or not you understand the reality of these microcosmic orbits or not, they are real. And I can testify that I've done this from this exact technique from deep trance states and literally been shot out into open space in my astral body. And on that note, I do realize that if you're new to some of this stuff, it does begin as imaginary, but with dedication, you will experience the reality of all of it. And again, do not write off the imagination as fantasy. Now, in the diagram, we see the words Pingala and Eden nadis bridged in front of the meditator's mouth. So, what does that mean? Well, the way we bridge the polarized energy streams of our being, which the Hindus title the Pingala and Eden nadis, is to gently rest the tip of the tongue against the roof of the mouth. And this is because the roof of the mouth and the tip of the tongue are where the two primary energy channels begin and end within your microcosm, or human body. And what this does is actually creates an energetic bridge that unites the male-female polarities of our being and allows the flow of our microcosmic orbit to charge our astral body correctly. Now remember that bridging this polarity gap with the tongue is also used in pineal gland activation and most advanced spiritual activity. It's pretty ancient stuff, and I just want to throw that out there for those of you who are into experiencing actual spiritual ascension. So that's the energy raising technique from the Taoist teachings, and I can tell you it's one of the most powerful tools that I personally have come across in my own astral projection. I've actually performed this within my astral body and been transported immediately to intense spiritual planes, because what this does within the out-of-body state is drastically raises the frequency of your current state. And sungazing. There's really more to this than we have time for, but to quickly go into this ancient spiritual practice regarding the astral body, It's a seriously powerful method of charging it up. Now, to actually demonstrate the real power that the sun provides to us through sun gazing, I'll just share this tidbit quickly. Most scientific reports regarding sun gazing talk about the man Hira Ratan Manek, who was studied by a team of medical doctors from the University of Pennsylvania through the funding of NASA. Now, he was observed for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 100 days straight, and clinically confirmed to be surviving in human form through sun gazing and occasional water and soy milk. Now, Hira has been a sun gazer for over 12 years, according to his reports, so that means that you and I aren't supposed to just give up eating to look at the sun. Now, I also have to mention from a safety standpoint here that sun gazing should be done at sunrise and sunset when you're beginning. This is when the solar rays are a lot less intense. And you should start with about 20 to 30 seconds twice daily. Then you increase your sun gazing time, combine it with walking barefoot on the earth for about 45 minutes. So there's a whole practice here that can be developed. But regarding astral projection, we know that it really amps up our astral body and allows it to separate easily within your sessions. Sun gazing also nourishes your spirit. Now, remember that our physical bodies are actually a complex composition of elemental properties. And when we stimulate the element of fire through sun gazing, we're actually nourishing this elemental connection. Sun gazing can also help activate your heart chakra. Now, most of us know that the heart chakra is directly connected to the sun, or solar awareness level. And also looking back at the Tree of Life, we see that Tiparath is the solar center of union within the self. And obviously, the more we nourish our heart center, the more we unlock our inner cosmic love. And keep in mind here that we're talking about the frequency of love here and not so much the emotional aspect. Emotional love can sometimes be very conditional in that it's dependent on a return. We love a lot of things from this plane because they create an emotional response within us. But cosmic love, or the actual frequency of love, exists way beyond the conditions of emotional love. And this is what we're beginning to unlock through sun gazing practice. So that being said, getting back to the astral body energy, I'll say that sun gazing is a highly effective and accurate method of charging up your astral body and separating easily within your sessions. And the main reason for this, keep in mind, is that we are elementally charging our being with pure active force, which is, of course, the element of fire. And the Hermeticists have understood this for thousands of years and use a lot of elemental invocations in their rituals and prayers for this very reason. In the LBT, we actually teach a really cool meditation for trance induction that connects you directly with each of the 5 elements, including fire, while you work down into the depths of yourself and into an empty void of an unmanifested experience, from where you begin your exit technique. So let's go ahead and look at self-inducing trance on that note. Now, however you want to enter a self-induced trance, there's a few points that you always want to keep in mind. First of all, you want to begin moving downward with clarity and focus. You want to actually, secondly, create a sinking feeling within your body. You want to hold crystal clear focus with the power of your will throughout this little journey. And you may want to gently even roll your eyes up into your brow center to create that sinking feeling within yourself. And this action is actually known as the third eye trigger, which can really help the separation process during your exit practice. Now, the most important part of self-inducing trance safely is to understand how your brain waves oscillate. You need to keep track of your state of awareness and feel your mind getting clearer into a focused trance state as your brain waves begin to oscillate slower and slower. And from a technical perspective, not that you have to have this memorized, but you'll feel these little drops going on. And it goes obviously from the waking state of alpha to a relaxed beta state, then to a deep meditative theta state. And if you slip any lower into delta, you're usually out of the game and into unconscious sleep states. So the goal for advanced spiritual practice work is definitely the theta state, with your brainwaves resonating at a comfortable 4 to 7 hertz per second. And you'll know when you're here because there is a crystal clear focus in your mind's eye. And it's a very good feeling, very calm, but very exciting at the same time. It's the exact mental destination you want to reach to begin accomplishing astral projection. And here's an image of the actual trance meditation technique that we teach in the LBT, which involves merging with each of the 5 Hindu tattva symbols. And what this does is actually energizes the astral body with each elemental property as the practitioner voluntarily moves downward into a focused trance state. And here we see the symbol of Akasha merging with the meditator on the right. Now let's look at when you should be practicing all of these techniques to maximize the result. There are actual proven time frames that work best for astral projection and really all spiritual work. As you can see here, you want to be well rested, so the early morning is recommended. Somewhere between the morning hours of 4 to 6 a.m. is without doubt the highest statistically proven time frame to leave your body. And this doesn't come to us from modern science, it actually comes to us from Hindu wisdom. Now, they realized many thousands of years ago that in this time frame of what the human brain observes as a 24-hour day, there is naturally an equal flow of prana in both the Pingala and Eden nadis. And what this means is that typically both nostrils are receiving equal amounts of air, and because of this, the balancing of your right and left brain hemispheres, it creates the desired theta brainwave state that we just talked about. Now, there's actually an almost perfect 4 to 7 hertz pattern here, and it's funny because if you look at almost any advanced spiritual culture in any time period, you'll find that their holy men and women were performing a lot of spiritual work in the early hours of the dawn. As you can see here, avoiding heavy foods, specifically meat, which tends to keep the astral body tied to the physical body through the strain of the heavy digestive processes. A few quick other tips here. Retaining sexual fluids increases your kundalini energy levels. And bear in mind that your kundalini is a sexual energy. And when you utilize it for spiritual work and astral projection, you're actually pulling it up your spine above the sacral center where it's generally released through sexual orgasm. So charging up this energy force can really be an important aspect here. And of course, wear comfortable clothing to avoid physical sensations and discomfort, because discomfort keeps the mind focused on the body. So once you're here in this focused trance state in the early hours of the morning with a fully stimulated and charged astral body, what else is left to do? Well, you guessed it. Simply apply your favorite exit technique. Now, I always say this because it's always true, but if you learn how to properly put your mind and body into the proper state, the separation of your astral body is almost unstoppable. Actually, once here, it's harder to stop the separation process than it is to induce it. So keep that in mind and never skip over the learning of getting into a perfectly numb, focused trance state. So let's look at some effective exit techniques. Now I want to focus here on 3 highly effective and classic techniques that all deal with transferring your conscious awareness into an altered perspective with clear focus. And this is what the separation process really comes down to. Holding awareness outside of your physical self just long enough to generate your astral body. That sounds easy, right? But in all seriousness, if your desire, will, and imagination are all tools working for you and not against you, the separation process really does come quickly. And again, don't underestimate the importance of getting into the correct trance state and relaxation state before applying your exit technique, and you will cross the threshold here. Now, most of you have used or know of the rope technique, and I can't tell you how many times I've climbed right out of my body with this one. The rope technique is the fallback method for me when I'm unable to just sit up or step out of my body. The idea here is to simply manifest a clear image of a rope hanging just above your physical body, and then raise your astral arms up to grab on and start climbing upward. Your only job here is to watch your hands climb the rope and relax your physical body as it begins to tingle or vibrate. Just witness the action of climbing the rope. That's it. And you can start to look down at the room for a few moments, whether imaginary or not, makes no difference. Remember that from within this state, wherever you're placing your conscious awareness is where your astral body will start to move to. Another awesome exit technique is to actually become your reflection. And this is actually really fun. And you don't have to have a physical mirror in front of you. You just want to see a clear reflection of yourself directly in front of you. You can watch your reflection breathing right along with your physical body while slowly beginning to see yourself through both perspectives. You want to start seeing yourself not as your reflection, but from within your reflection. Does that make sense? And the longer you can maintain this perspective, the easier you will begin to tingle and vibrate to separate your astral body from your physical. And we can see here how this would look from within the actual astral state or etheric state. Now, the exit technique of becoming the self above yourself uses the breath to build a floating image. I personally like to transfer my breath awareness into both of my ears and watch each exhale secrete an etheric fluid that rises above me to rebuild my own astral body just above me. Now, this actually takes about 7 full breaths to completely construct my new body, and then then I can simply look down at myself clearly back in my meditating body. And by holding this perspective clearly for just a few seconds, I can usually begin to vibrate or simply slide out and take flight. And here's an image of the position shifting technique that we teach in the LBT. You can see how from the center point, the meditator learns to actually move into each of the 6 surrounding energy points and then see the room from each of these perspectives. And this technique specifically uses the breath to glide your conscious awareness into each of these points. And the cool part of doing this is that you're actually usually already breathing from within your astral body once separated. And this gives you immediate stability in your new state, and you can usually stay out longer with perfect or cleaner focus, and you can travel to your choice of astral or spiritual planes. And this technique was actually spawned from Franz Barden's AP writings in his book, Initiation into Hermetics, for those of you who are interested. And at this point, all you need to do is completely relax once you're out and enjoy the freedom and your success of getting out. Remember, it's actually easier to take flight than it is to try to walk on astral legs. So if you're beginning, just fly. Also, having a pre-planned destination can really help the outing unfold with more clarity. So it is a good idea to be clear on where you want to travel to or what you want to accomplish before your session. Maybe you're looking to get some work done or test some results. But if you're looking to just leave your body and enjoy the outing, certainly you can do just that. Now, it's really important to proceed with confidence once you're out. If you're timid about the new environment, you will probably go straight back to your physical body and snap into an alpha state, meaning you're awake. I can't overemphasize the importance of relaxing within the astral. You really have nothing to fear because most of the time, the first outing will take you into what Robert Bruce refers to as the real time zone, and It's very much like your 3D reality, but with a few fluctuations depending on your level of lucidity. So there will be humans, roads, cars, earth, sky, water, and so forth. It's a close resemblance to what you experience here in your daily life, so you can interact in this plane with some familiarity to its nature and remain clear and calmer because of this. Moving into the higher astral frequencies requires a bit more spiritual maturity, but it's still nothing to fear as long as you're in a healthy place karmically, ethically, mentally, and of course spiritually. And that's a whole different topic, I think, but it's the basic idea in being accepted and functional within the astral and spiritual worlds. Now, we've touched on a lot of information here, but this is really just the tip of the iceberg. We've set up a full-fledged advanced spiritual learning center through the website so that those who really want to begin experiencing their immortal existence can begin to do just that. Shifting from a conscious state of daily life and into our out-of-body state does require patience and dedication. But if you apply these techniques and the powerful tools of your will, desire, and imagination, you will essentially cross the threshold and experience your conscious immortality. I thank all of you for listening to our lecture this evening, and personally invite you to share your thoughts, comments, and questions in the comments area below. And if you haven't just yet, continue browsing our website, looking at the deeper menus, and I welcome you to look into the Join Us tab to become part of our community and advance in your spiritual growth. Thank you. Have a great night.